About something that's very important, something that we all struggle with, including myself, and that's being your biggest cheerleader. What does that mean? Well, basically, nobody, and I mean nobody, cares about your life as much as you do. And that's perfectly okay. If you're waiting for others to show up, to push you to do the things you need to do, you will be waiting a very long time, sometimes forever. That's why we get stuck in these little ruts because sometimes we really look at the person that we care about the most, your significant other, your parent, your sibling, and you really want them to push you. And they might push you just enough, but you can't expect somebody to care about your own life as much as you do. That inner voice in your head is the loudest voice that you will hear from anywhere. It's somebody you talk to every single day. The thoughts you put in your head are a reflection of the actions you perform in your day to day. And that's why it's so important to really believe in yourself, to really root for yourself every day. Because as soon as you start talking bad about yourself, those actions will come true. I have many people in my life that sadly, they wonder why these bad things always happen to them. And then you ask how they talk about themselves, and it's in such a negative connotation that you're just like, how wouldn't bad things happen to you? You only think about negativity around your life, so that brings it in. Okay? I don't care if it's called the universe, the power, the secret, whatever it is. If all you think is negative, that's what you will exude or exhume, whatever the word is. So you you have to be that person that wants you to succeed first. You have to be that person that when you accomplish something good, praise yourself. When you make a smarter decision than the last time, praise yourself. Because that inner voice becoming a more positive framework of talking to yourself will lead you to doing more positive tasks. If you say, man, I'm so lazy. I shouldn't, I never get out of bed. I don't eat well. I'm just doing nothing with my life. You're probably going to end up doing that. When instead you could flip it around, being like, well, today, I did really well with my steps yesterday. I tracked all my food. I hit my goals. I worked out well. I have a lot of energy, and I spent a lot of time with my family. And I did it all while being super busy, and it wasn't that bad. I can definitely do that again tomorrow. You already set yourself up to start the next day with that same positivity. Because we might get caught up in that motivation, external motivation. We see something we want, we see or we hear something that like pushes us. We're like, we need to change. But that fizzles out really quick. Trust me, it fizzles out extremely quick. And as soon as that does fizzle out, if you're left with just bad thoughts in your head or bad processes that never got you to understand how you got to where you got, as soon as that motivation fizzles and there's no discipline and positivity in that inner voice, you're going to fall right back to where you started. It's we live in a really weird time also where it's you got to be tough. You got to be hard. You can't celebrate your wins. You just got to keep going. And sure that works for most people, but for some people, but for most people it's probably better to celebrate your wins because they make you feel good. When you accomplish something, if somebody's like, good job, you're just like, thanks. Or most of us are. Instead of being like, good job. Oh man, no, it was a terrible job. I could have done better. I should have done better. It's what does that bring? That brings nothing. Instead, you could be like, yeah, thank you. I did a good job. But next time I maybe want to try for a little better. It's a different framework. It's a different mindset that you develop, and that pushes you forward. And once you start developing that mindset, once you start developing the process, once you start having that inner voice, once you start being your biggest cheerleader, you can start the standard for other people to follow. Okay? Because you showed that you care about yourself so much that it didn't matter what was happening around your life. You brought positivity from those negative things. Those negative things around you didn't stunt your progress towards your goals because you became your biggest cheerleader, because you became that positive inner voice, because you put in the steps to create a disciplined self. And then people will see that around you. Your kids will see that. Your significant others will see that. Your friends will see that. Your family will see that. And they'll be like, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's when you become the billboard for success. And that's when people start looking at you and being like, I really need to start taking care of myself. And that's how you push other people, not by over investing into their lives more than they care themselves, because they will never change unless the person wants the change themselves, but by showing from example, living by example. My father's a very hard worker, and I see that every single day throughout my entire life. So that's just a norm. I expect hard work. I don't expect mediocrity. And if you just have certain traits around you, you don't have to motivate people. They see from the results, from the fruits of your labor, what comes when you put in effort. So be your biggest cheerleader. Stop relying on other people, but focus on having good people around you that you can see and be like, you know what? It's time that I take that next step for myself. It's time that I put all that effort in to myself and take myself to the next level, not just for myself, but for the people around me. So be your biggest cheerleader and don't talk bad about yourselves, guys. It does nothing but bring negativity. And we're here for a positive space to grow forever.